Man, this is lifestyles of the poor and unfucking fortunate. But I tell you what, but bitch, we got views.
All right, what's going on, everybody? This is Chad Arms TV, and you've probably seen this guy on here before, but it's been a minute.
Man,
it's been about a decade. But we're
longer
back.
than that.
Yeah, it was like 2010.
Jackson, Tennessee's movie.
Yep, for sure. But we got the legend Lil Wyte in the building.
You learned. What's going on, baby?
What's crazy is we haven't seen each other in over a decade, and we've seen each other twice
in 1 week, in 5 days.
Yeah, we ran into each other at the Jelly Show,
yeah.
and now we're here. So we're just gonna sit down with you and talk to you, man. Well, first and foremost, thank you for letting us do this. We appreciate it.
Of course. Y'all the homies, man.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate that. And we'll just start from the beginning, man. Like, you want to talk about a little bit, like, just growing up, like your childhood, like, how things were with you as a kid growing up and what got you into music, stuff like that?
I mean, I was always into music at a young age. Like, parents were straight classic rock heads, all the greats. They listened to all of it. Like, here in Memphis, every Friday night on the rock station, they got Get the Lead Out. Mm-hmm. So every Friday night, I can remember, as far back as I can remember, at my house every Friday night, it was Led Zeppelin as loud as the radio would go.
Right.
And, I got into rap when I was probably about, I was actually, rest in peace to my godmother, she just passed away recently. She was who introduced me to rap, believe it or not. Like, she would hide her Sir Mix-a-Lot cassette from my godfather and my dad, and whenever the girls would go out, my mom and her and all that, they'd pop in rap music, get away from the guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Start dancing and shit, and I'll never forget it. I was probably about, I want to say I was 8, 9 years old, and the first real rap song I heard was Buttermilk Biscuits, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh, yeah.
On that first, I think it was his first album he dropped. And then after that, I got into Sir Mix-a-Lot, and I, like, the first song I ever learned all the lyrics to was Baby Got Back. I knew it when I was 8, 9 years old. Fast forward a couple of years, that's when I actually bought my first rap cassette, was Crisscross, Totally Crossed Out.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Backwards clothes, all that.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I can remember going to Kmart and begging my mom, and she was like, don't let your daddy find it. And I was like, all right. So I ended up, like, taking the cover off and, like, labeling it something else and all that shit,
Yeah.
And I actually had a neighbor move in across the street in Fraser where I lived as a kid. They moved in across the street, and he used to build speaker boxes and shit for everybody in the hood. Rest in peace, Jimmy. Damn, I feel like everybody in this conversation is dead. Shit, already. Damn. Yeah, but so Jimmy Collins, rest in peace. He was a big Memphis rap fan. Like, he had the old school cassette cases where you had he had like hundreds of cassettes. You're good. And I would literally go to Walgreens. I would get a cassette, come back to Jimmy and beg him to let me use one of his cassettes for 30 minutes to an hour, however long it took to dub it. And I'd go back home, dub it, hide it, take him back his cassette. And one of the first gangster rap songs that I ever really just fell in love with was Ghetto Boys, Minus Playing Tricks on Me.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it was so dope they had a little guy, you know what I'm saying? They had Bushwick Bill. Rest in peace, Bushwick Bill. Jesus Christ, what the fuck, man? Sam, if you try to get on the interview, go on, man. So, once I heard Ghetto Boys, I was like, yo, man, Ghetto Boys, they were just hard to me. And this was before 360 really came out. Like, they was already doing shit in the city, but I didn't know nothing about them yet. And Jimmy, I'll never forget it. He was like, hey, man, I want you to hear this new cassette I got. Because he would always be out in his driveway building speaker boxes, fixing on cars and shit. And it was Mystic Styles. And he was like, these folks are from Memphis. And I was like, what? We got rappers that actually live in Memphis? I was just blown away by that. It was just, my mind just couldn't, I was like 12 at the time. It was 94, yeah. So I was 12, 82, yeah. So I just got infatuated with 3-6, man. It was just like, my birthday's October 6th also. And my parents were big Dale Earnhardt fans. So 3s and 6s have always been in my face since I can remember.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was kind of weird. But I started rapping about around the same time I started kind of, I would memorize other people's verses. So 95 or 96, Skinny Pimp, King of the Players Ball dropped.
Yep.
And I learned all the lyrics to Midnight Hose, where he flows his ass off at the end of it. And nobody at my school had heard that album yet. So one day at the lunch table, I started spitting that verse, and nobody knew it was Skinny Pimp. Shout out to Skinny Pimp, by the way. He's actually heard this story. Yeah. So I literally would go to the lunch table, just all of my life I've been looking for one of the finest and greatest. And everybody was just like, what the fuck? Who is this kid? You know what I'm saying? And my partner, Tyrone at the time, we was in freshman, ninth grade. He goes, man, you need to write. He was like, man, because like I was always a writer in class and shit. I'd always have the best stories and shit. Anytime I had to do an essay, it was always deep and elaborate and just write. So he was just like, man, you need to start writing, man. Like you can do the flow part. Now you got to write. So I'd go, write down a couple of lyrics or whatever, spit them to him. He'd be like, dude, that's hard. You know what I'm saying? Keep it up, keep it up. So like I would go by the name Lil Pat because my name's Patrick, of course. And he was like, Lil Pat ain't cutting it. Lil Pat, this is not gonna work. I'm Lil Black. You need to be Lil Wyte. And he's a Crip, so he spelled his B-L-A-C-C. He said, you gotta spell it different. You can't spell it like white because it'll be taken racist over the years. This is some shit. This is a ninth grader's thought process now. He was ninth grade, 15 years old. Yeah.
95, 96?
Yeah, 96. Oh, no. 96. Yeah, 96. Okay. And, he was just like, dude, you need to change your name to Lil Wyte. Spell it differently, though, so it don't come off as racist. And he was like, then me and you will be out tag teaming this shit. Nobody's ever going to think nothing about it anyway because you're going to be with me. I got your back. So, like, I was like, well, how the fuck am I going to spell it? He's like, spell it like the word hype, but use W-Y-T-E. And I was like, that might actually work. He was like, all right, it's going to work. Trust me. And I was like, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those weird, like, Black saw the shit before I did, to be honest. Like, and sure enough, changed my name, whatever. Started writing, and I would literally, biology class was right before lunch. So I hated biology class. So, and I was really smart. I made good grades. I just started smoking weed and skipping school and dropping out and shit like that. Still graduated, though. Stay in school, kids. So I would go to biology class, and instead of doing my work, I had this little girl beside me, one of my homegirls that I'd known since kindergarten, that would always give me all the answers at the end of class. So I just like jot down all the answers and pass the class by the skin of my teeth and shit. And I would write my verse for lunch in biology, memorize it, little 8, 16 bars, whatever it was. And I'd memorize the verse, and I'd go to the lunch table and just shut it down. Everybody else is freestyling off the top of their head, but I'd already memorized this verse, so I had a different approach.
That's dope. You can do it that quick.
I know, it was looking back. Even while I was just talking to one of my partners about this, and it was like looking back, it was kind of crazy that I could do that. Even he used to blow Black away because he couldn't do that. He would freestyle, and I'd come in with a written verse that nobody knew about and just shut it down. We didn't battle rap; we just freestyle, and. I'd say a year later, 10th grade, I was at one of my partner's houses. Everybody was outside playing basketball. I've never been good at any sport. So I would always sit on the curb and just roll up and smoke with the girls around the neighborhood and shit while they was out there hooping and shit. And I'd rap to the girls and get their opinions on shit. And the guys that lived 2 doors down, Shelby Forest Clique, they were making music, straight out of the garage, had a little studio. Shout out to Bo Whitlock. That's the only one I'm going to shout out. The rest of them can suck it. Bo Whitlock was Eric Clapton's, his dad was Eric Clapton's guitarist. So he would always get studio equipment for his birthday and Christmas and shit. So we had a cool little setup to be young as shit. And they were a little older than me. They were like 19, 20. I was only like 16 at the time. And I straight up just was like, look, man, y'all need an extra person. There was only like 3 of them. And they were like, no. I was like, well, I got a little demo that I made literally in my bedroom. Hit record, rap into the little microphone on the little boom box and play the beat. And as a matter of fact, what's so crazy to me, the beat that I used was the beat on The End, 3 6 Mafia. So the very first beat I ever rapped on was a 3 6 Mafia beat. And I still, every now and then I'll bring it up to Paul and Juicy, like, why did y'all do that? Like, why? What was the point of putting? And they've never did it after that. There's only been one instrumental that Paul and Juicy ever released, and it was on that album. I mean, unless you got like a song that already came out, you get the instrumental. But on that album, it was just an instrumental, and I literally would just write verse after verse after verse of that shit. And the one that they ended up liking was the one that I put on the cassette. And they called me like 2 days later and they were like, hey man, that shit's fire, man. Like we're fucking with it. We're gonna fuck with you. Can you be at our house this afternoon? I was like, yeah, whatever. We go over there. I dropped like 3 verses that day. And, just showed them what I had. And we ended up making a couple of we made one. I got on their first album. And I was only on one song on the first album. And my dad, we were all outside rapping one night, beating on the back of my mom's Cutlass, rapping and shit. My dad's sitting on the porch in the dark with the light out, and we didn't even know he was out there. And of course, I laid out one of my written verses, and I shut everybody down. I come inside to grab me something to drink, and my dad's on the porch. So I'm like, oh, she kind of spooked me because I didn't know he was up there. He was like, nice, sounds good. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck you doing out here? He was like, was that you? I was like, yeah, that was me. He was like, so when all your black buddies went, oh, did they like that? I was like, yes, they loved it, Dad. That's what they meant. He was like, oh, that's dope. He goes, I get my income tax check back here in like 3 weeks. If I gave you $1,500, could you make a demo with it? I was like, fuck yeah, I could, man. Of course. He was like, I want receipts. I want everything back. I want to see where you spent everything and make sure you're doing it right. So sure enough, I went to this little distribution company around the corner that is no longer there no more. I want to say it was DNW Distribution or whatever. And they had it where it was like a one-stop pop. Like you go in there and they had a graphic dude do the artwork. They they produced everything, distributed it to me, gave me back a box full of like 1,000 cassettes and like 10 CDs. Because back in the day, CDs were expensive as shit.
Oh yeah, they were like 20-something bucks.
Yeah, it was 20-something bucks a piece. And like we had like, I want to say we had 6 of those. I gave my dad one, and then I held on to the other 5 in case we ran into somebody that needed to hear it. And so that ended up I ended up putting all that money into the Shelby Forest Click's second cassette. So I funded the whole fucking thing.
And you were on that whole project?
Yeah, I was on the whole project. Yeah. It was like 16 songs. I think I was on like 13 out of 16 songs. And, of course, I brought Dad back all the receipts. I ended up bringing Dad back receipts in like 72 cents and change. And he goes, this is going to be good. He was like, I think this is going to be good. I like that. I like the music. I think this could help you out. So literally, we were slanging them out in school. We were selling them out of lockers and shit. They were selling them around the hood because they had a car at the time. I barely was riding around and shit. 6 months later, I get my first car, 4-door Cutlass, 1980 Gent. I had me a little job working at this warehouse that summer after school. That summer I was working at this warehouse in East Memphis. And 3-6 Mafia was on the radio promoting Getty Green, Project Pat. And they were talking about they're looking for new artists. Anybody that sees them in the city, don't be afraid to walk up, hand them a CD or some music. So my supervisor at the time, he was like, he was a super cool dude, Mike. Super cool motherfucker, old school black dude. He was like, bro, you need to take that album right now to the radio station. I was like, man, look, dude, you're just my supervisor. You're not my boss. Like, I need this job. And like, I literally just stayed at work, didn't think nothing about it. I was like, fuck it, let somebody else get it. Well, little did I know, the rest of the guys in the group were at the radio station waiting on 3-6 Mafia to come out. And Paul and Juicy walked out, gave them the album and shit. Meanwhile, I know nothing about this. I get off work, go back to my mom and dad's house, and I was making a plate. I can still fucking smell the shit. It was spaghetti with a chef salad. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I'm making a plate, and Mom's like, Pat, phone. So I go in the living room, answer the phone. He's like, bro, you're not going to believe who wants to sign us. Come to find out they called back the same day. When they found out it was a 4 white boy rap group, they called back immediately. And the album was hard. Like, I mean, even I've went back in the last few years and just kind of listened to a few of them songs. And like, we were ahead of our time to be 4 little white dudes from fucking Memphis on some like white boy 3-6 Mafia shit. Mm-hmm. And he's like, bro, 3-6 Mafia. He said, guess who wants to sign us? And I named off like every rapper you could imagine except 3-6 Mafia because to me, they were up there. Like it was just beyond it. It wasn't even I couldn't even fathom the thought of that. And he's like, nope, everybody I'm naming you. Nope. Who, motherfucker, who? He's like, it's 3-6 Mafia. I hung up on him. I was like, bro, I just got off work. I'm hungry. My mom made spaghetti. I'm gone. Click. Calls right back. I'm like, what, bro? He's like, I'm not fucking joking, bro. He's like, I'm dead serious. They were on the radio today. We drove out to East Memphis. We drove out to Mount Moriah, gave him to Havos or K97, gave him the CD and the cassette, because you gave me one CD to give to somebody important, so we gave it to 3 6 Mafia. And I'm over here like, this is still bullshit. I don't believe it. So he's like, all right, you don't believe it? Tomorrow they're going to conference call us at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, fuck, I got to work. So I called my supervisor. I'm like, bro, you're not going to believe this shit. I was like, remember what you wanted me to do yesterday? He was like, yeah, what about it? I said, dude, the other guys in the group did it. They like us. They want to fuck with us. He's like, what the fuck? So what's next? I was like, I need to be off work by 4 o'clock today. He was like, done. So like
that's cool. You had somebody in your corner. Like
yeah, I still look back, man. Like there was some good people around back then that really had my back on this shit. And I ball home, changed out of my work clothes and shit, on something different. Had like literally like $7 in the tank, enough to get me downtown to their old studio and back home. And I ended up driving over to dude's house in the group. And as I'm pulling into the driveway, he's standing out in the front yard. He's standing on the front porch with a cordless phone out there. And I'm like, oh, let me guess, who's that? DJ Paul? And he goes, it's fucking Juicy J, bro. Yeah, Juicy. Yeah, well, my bad. That's Lil Wyte. He just got here. And I'm like,
this is real.
Is this shit really happening?
Yeah, you think you're being punked?
Yeah, I thought, yeah, way before Punked ever came out.
Yeah, for sure.
So we sit down in the living room. He goes in, he puts the phone down, turns it on speakerphone, and sure enough, it's Juicy J's voice. I know that voice from anywhere. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And they're all freaking out shit. We're all tripping and shit. So like the next day, we go down to 3 6 Studios, and I'm just blown away that we even got this opportunity. They go down there first, because I had to work the next day. I had to work till 5. We had to be there at 5. It so happens I went back through, I just happened to be looking at the call log on my mom's caller ID, and it said Hypnotize Mind Studio. So they tried to call my phone first because my mom and dad's phone number was on the back of the cassette for booking and shit like that. Yep. So like I'm saying, like that's how long ago it was. Our parents' number was on the fucking back of it. Which he was a little older than me. He had his own phone and shit, his own crib. So like I look at the number and these dudes ain't, none of these motherfuckers are answering the phone now. Everybody has cell phones, but ain't nobody answering the phone. So here I am, done put all this money up, did all this shit. Fucking God's answered, and the clouds opened, and these motherfuckers left me. Now, I don't know where the studio's at. And I remembered seeing Hypnotized Minds on the fucking caller ID, so I said, fuck it, I'm gonna just go for it. Called up Hypnotized Minds Studio, and I remembered 527-3277. I still remember, because it was in the fucking yellow pages back in the day. Because it was a legit business or whatever. So I knew that was the right number. Because I tried to call it 100,000 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, is Project back there? Click, shut the fuck up. So they actually answered because they had a call ID too back in the, of course, everybody did. So it said Dean Lanshaw, my dad's name. And rest in peace, Dean. So Pancho Villa answers the phone. 3 6 Studio, I was like, oh, shit, he actually answered. Fuck. Hey, is Paul or Juicy around? This is Lil Wyte. I'm supposed to be meeting you guys tonight. He goes, yeah, Lil Wyte, where you at, man? Here, let you talk to Juice. Or let's talk to Paul. Paul got a phone. What's up, Lil Wyte? Your boys are already here. Where you at? I said, yeah, I know. I can't get a hold of none of these motherfuckers. I drove by their house and everything, everybody gone. He said, yeah, they've been here for like 20 minutes. I was like, can you tell me the address so I can get down there? He asked me where I was coming from. He gave me straight directions and shit. I walk in and sure enough, we're there. Like it's crazy. Like Paul does this fucking Dr. Evil thing where he's sitting in his chair watching TV, and Pancho opens the door. Pancho did security like right there in the little desk and shit. And Paul spins around all slow and he goes, "You must be Lil Wyte." And I mean, he's just like he was watching TV and just spins. Yeah. And I'll never forget that shit. He looked at me. It was back when he had his gold grill. It was just a bling. I was like, holy shit, it's fucking DJ Paul. Oh my God.
And what year was this?
2000.
Okay.
So, well, no, 99. No, it was 2000, yeah.
Okay.
It's 2000. It was right, I almost said right around the beginning of 2000. So we ended up chopping it up with them all night long. We kicked it all night. They let us hear some beats and shit. And the guys in the group that I was with started talking about bitches, jewelry, cars, all this nonsense shit Like, y'all just met these folks. So he's over here, how much you pay for that Benz outside? What's that watch cost? All this shit. I got up and walked the fuck away out of that conversation. And I went walking down the little hallway that had all their gold plaques and all their platinum plaques and shit. And I was just distanced myself from that whole conversation. And Paul saw me and he walked off with me. I'm sitting there just reading all these plaques and shit. And he puts his arm around me and he's like, you want you one of those? I was like, I want like 10 of them motherfuckers. He was like, your boy's got other things in mind. I was like, ooh. I felt it right then. I was like,
It's cool that he saw that too, though.
Yeah, I'm so fucking glad he did.
Yeah.
And we'll fast forward. Like 6 months go by of them trying to figure out negotiations and shit. We had an attorney and all that shit. Finally, we had this like group conference call at my buddy's studio. We're waiting on Paul and Juicy to call. I'm waiting on the attorney to call us. And he goes, all right, I got good news and I got bad news. I was like, fuck, what's about to happen? It's all finna crumble. He's like, good news is contract's ready. We all got excited. And like, okay, go. What's the bad news? Bad news is it's only for Lil Wyte. Solo deal. The motherfuckers all looked at
And
me.
y'all were all...
It was like 15 of us, and I'm there by myself. And they've all been homies for like 10, 15 years. I'm the new kid that just joined in. And they all literally just kind of like look at me. I'm like, and they're like, okay, so-and-so, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for the news, blah, blah, blah. Hang up the phone. And the leader of the group looks at me and goes, well, what you gonna do? You gonna stay with us or you gonna go with 36 Mafia? I was like, he just said, well, he said it was a solo deal with a chance for them to get signed later.
Yeah.
And to be on my album. They didn't want that. So it turned into this big beef war. Like, it was some bad shit. Like, it was bad. Like, it was really bad. Like, every day it was some different shit. Because we didn't live far from each other. You know what I'm saying? They would ride by throwing shit at my house and shit. It came time, we got in so many fights. Dude, it was bad. They sent a crackhead to my house. I don't mind talking about this shit with y'all. Especially you, brother.
Thank you.
They sent a crackhead to my house to beat my ass one day. And he was just this crazy psycho crackhead. I wasn't home, so he beat the shit out of my mama. Fucked her up bad, gave her brain damage. She ended up getting early stages of dementia and Alzheimer's. Like, she really lost her whole fucking mind within like 3 months after that incident. So after that, my dad got depressed. Keep in mind, I'm already signed to 36 Mafia now at this point. I'm on like a probationary period. They're just kind of get to know me. I'm trying to get to know the ropes and shit, going on the road with them, seeing how I act on the road. And that night, all the shit popped off. I called Paul, and I was just like, look, man, they fucked up my mom, dude. Like, what the fuck do I do now? That night, we jumped in like 3 pickup trucks, like 15 deep, went over there and fucking wrecked shop. I'm talking about fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
And after that, my dad fucking had a heart attack from just stress, you know, not his woman being all out of it and shit. They ended up having to put her in a nursing home at a very young age. My mom was, this was 2002, 2001 when this happened? 2001. It was, yeah, about 2001. Because I ended up signing September 13th. It was like literally like not even a week ago. September 13th, 2001 is when I signed. And yeah, dude, that shit was just crazy for like a minute. And then once, you know, everything started popping off and shit, you know, they kind of backed off. A couple of them went to jail. They kind of disappeared for a while. One of them went to jail for murder for like 11 years, and that shit was just over, you know. And then, like, after that, now it's game time. It's go time.
But you've had to go through all that bullshit.
Dude, yes, goddamn. I mean, it was fucked up, yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
So, I'm signed. I started working on the album. We dropped Doubt Me Now in 2003. Doubt Me Now is 18 years old this year.
Yeah, March 4th, right?
March 4th, yeah. Crazy. Doubt Me Now can get a tattoo legally. It's for real, like for real. They can buy cigarettes, but they changed the age, you know what I'm saying?